Oh dear Jesus, it's 4 in the morning. The reason why I'm up right now because work starts today and I have to be at work at 5:30 in the morning. I am detasseling corn for like 3 weeks and I'm so not happy. Detasseling corn sucks from what I hear, and I'm not allowed to curse or I get fired. I'm getting fired in like the first 5 minutes, hands down. Like, there's no doubt about it. I'm getting fired. I just came back from detasseling, and this is basically what happened. They were like, you have to go there and you have to wait for this bus to come pick you up. And I was like, oh, it's like preschool. We get there, and the bus is yet to come. And so Bernie and I are sitting there, and we're like, oh, we forgot our gloves. So, of course, we just got to the group of people, and we run away, like, we're idiots. And then everyone is like, whatever, like, don't pay attention to them. As we're walking back, literally everyone who was at the place started staring at us. And I was like, oh, shit. We were just, like, sitting there, and the bus came. And then, of course, there's so many people that, when the bus started getting full, Bernie and I were like, we're getting a seat together. We're not being separated. So then everyone was, like, getting their seats. And then finally, the only seat that had room for 2 was the very front seat. And luckily for us, there's a piece of cardboard that we sat on. And I was like, oh my god. I thought we were just gonna go, because there's like tons of fields. I swear to god. There was corn fucking everywhere. But then we go even farther into, literally, it was like something out of Freddy vs. Jason, The Devil's Rejects, The Boonies where you could die, and there's like lots of trees and shit like that. So we go, and we finally get to the fields of corn that we're actually gonna pull, just hassle. And then finally, they're like, everyone get out of the freaking bus, but don't take your crap. And then they go, well, first of all, who's never ever done this? Okay, I was like this the whole time. I was like, amen. I was like, praise Jesus. I was like, because I have not done this before. So then Brittany and I are sitting there, and then, like, literally 20 minutes after they've got, because they sent, like, the other 2 groups out, because they knew what they were doing. They let them on their merry way, and they forgot about us. I swear to God. We sat there for like 20 minutes. We didn't know what we were doing, and then Brittany was complaining about how we weren't going to do anything. And I was like, Brittany, we're being paid for standing around. I was like, shut up. I was like, I'm happy with this. So they show us like this little flip book of what you should do with pesticides. And I'm like, okay, when do we start working? And they're like, oh, well, now. So I was like, okay. So then they put me in this row, which is right next to the male corn. I didn't know that it was the male corn, so I was, like, pulling, like, detasseling or whatever, and they're like, well, just make sure you stay in your rows, because we've had people wander 75 rows off. So as you're walking, somehow I ended up in the male corn, and I was, like, pulling, and I was, like, detasseling. I was like, what, bitch? And then I noticed there's, like, the really big, tall ones. I was like, aren't those male corn? So then I asked the guy, I was like, are we supposed to be pulling the male corn? And he goes, you're in the wrong row. And I was like, oh, shit. So then I had to run all the way back down, because I was ahead of everyone else. I was feeling really cool. And I was like, shit. Of course, this guy was riding my ass the whole time. Like, literally, he was like, quality over quantity, don't be, like, slackers. And, of course, you can't cuss, or you can't do anything. So I was like, oh, whatever. I was like, I'm Pocahontas, pulling corn and shit. So then finally, as, like, it took us, like, an hour and a half to get down 1 row of corn. And I was like, vagina. I didn't realize that the corn was wet. So then, as I was pulling, I noticed my pants were getting really wet. And I was like, that's odd. I was like, my pants are wet. And the guy he harassed me within, like, 5 minutes that I had missed a piece of corn that he had to go detassel. And I was like, sorry, whatever. So then I kept going, and then he charges up the row, yells at some girl who's plucking next to me, and then walks back and, like, disappears in the jungle. And I'm like, oh, okay. So then we go, and at the very end, he comes up to me and goes, I just pulled 2 corn for you. And I was like, oh, sorry, like, my bad. And, of course, we get to the end, and he's like, well, we all have to wait before we can start a new row, because we're groups and we do things together. So they line us up yet again, and, of course, they put me next to the goddamn male corn. So then the guy was not happy, and he made us all line up in front of the row of corn. Like, the row of corn would be here, and I'd be standing behind it. And I was like, oh, lovely. So then I started, like, plucking and pulling, and I'm, like, going like nobody's business. And I'm not even kidding you. We literally got, like, 10 minutes into, like, the pulling the corn. They had assigned the good people to come and help us. So then we met in the middle, and the guy goes, what did he say? He goes, you've been bailed. And I was like, oh, okay. And then some girl starts yelling, you've been bailed! And I was like, shut up. I was like, my God, PMS clocks. So then as we're walking down, the guy keeps, like, looking back at me to see if I'm plucking corn. And I'm like, I'm obviously not touching the corn. I was like, 1, I'm tired. 2, I'm done. And, of course, the best part, it started raining. And I'm like, oh, my God, are you kidding me? So I'm walking through the goddamn mud with bugs. And I didn't really see any bugs. But then the guy who was like, oh, there's rats. And I was like, hold up. I was told there's bugs. I didn't know I was supposed to bring rat repellent. Like, what the fuck?
It was very interesting.
Overall, I thought it was pretty good.
What?
Yeah, my favorite part was they're like, we'll be done by Thursday, and it's only a Saturday. And they're like, you get Sunday off. And I was like, wow, we get like a $120 dollar paycheck. If that. We get paid $8 an hour. We only work 2 hours. The kid next to us on the way back was like, we got $14. And I was like, fuck my life. But I was fucking tired. She went to bed at 2 and woke up at 4:15 because my mom called at the wrong time. But I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't that bad. Could have been worse.
It was a success.